Hello sweethearts, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about your 7 powerful chakras. And if you stay to the end of this video, I'm going to introduce another chakra, an 8th chakra, which is a secret chakra really, because it's something we only really work with in Kundalini yoga. But it's so powerful because it relates to manifestation. And we all love that word, right? So stay to the end and you will get to know about your 7 powerful chakras as well as the secret 8th chakra. So before we get started, please like and subscribe to this channel. That will help me grow the channel, get better guest speakers on, and essentially provide you with more value. So like and subscribe, and let's get going. So before we get started, what are the chakras? The chakras are centers of energy. We have the main ones inside of the body, which we're going to talk about today. We've got other ones inside of our body, and there's more chakras surrounding our individual being as well, outside there in the universe, okay? So chakras are essentially, let's talk about the 7 main chakras and the 8th one, if you stay to the end, that we have inside of our body, okay? These chakras, these energy centers, these energy vortexes or portals, or maybe even you might want to refer to them as sponges, because what they do is they absorb the energy from life. So all of the energy that's going on around us, around this sort of individual meat suit, if you like, this individual being, the chakras absorb all of that life's energy. Okay, they do other things as well, but essentially what I want you to understand them as is energy centers that absorb life's energy. Without life's energy, we would be dead, kaput, gone. Okay, so no, they are not just woo-woo yogic spiritual terms that mean nothing. Without the chakras, we wouldn't have a life. We wouldn't be alive. Without our energy, nothing works, okay? So the chakras are our system of energy inside the body. So like we have these other systems, like the nervous system, for example, the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, we have the energy system and it's related to the chakras. So let's think about chakra as energy center inside of the body that receives energy from life. Okay, so yes, it is a cliche term. I'm not going to lie. It's been totally overused in a really strange way in the industry. Get your chakras aligned and get your chakras balanced, and it can come across a little bit woo-woo, but I really want to break some of these and bust some of these myths about chakras being woo-woo, right? Just because we can't see something and we can't touch it, it's not tangible, it doesn't mean to say it's not there, okay? Wi-Fi, we know it's there because we work with it daily. This is how I'm enabling myself to bring this video to you and you're watching it, right? We can't see it, we just sort of believe it because we use Wi-Fi, right? We know our physical body exists because there's aches and pains. If you're over 35, you're going to get aches and pains in your body as you wake up and on a night, and you can use your body. It's tactile, you can run, you can walk, you can move, you can eat. We know these things exist, right? But it's much harder for us to understand something when we cannot see it. We haven't had an experience of it. And therefore, for us, it's not there. But when we think about something like love, for example, love cannot be seen, but it can be felt. And I want to explain the chakra system in a very, very similar way. When you start to work with it, you start to feel it. You start to feel the energy moving around your body and circulating and balancing in different areas, in the different chakras. Okay, especially if you're doing things like Kundalini yoga, yoga in general, meditation, breath work, all of these different tools that we work with to circulate and balance energy in the body, you'll start to get a real deeper understanding of what the chakra system actually is and how it works. Okay, so having said that, let's get going with these 7 main chakras. So let's remember, little recap, the chakra system is our energy body. It's one of our subtle bodies, because we have a few. It's more of a subtlety in life, right? And it's another way in which we can start to perceive and understand and explore our other senses. Okay, so we've got the 5 main senses, and the 5 physical senses, which we're very familiar with because we use them on the reg, right? We've got taste, we've got hearing, we've got sight, we've got smell, we've got sound, we've got touch, okay, feeling. And these are things that we explore the world through these 5 main senses, right? Now, when we start to tap into the chakra system, into our energy body, our subtle bodies, what we start to do is we start to develop our subtle senses, which allows us to have a much broader perspective of the world. It opens our mind. It allows us to connect to our manifestations. It allows us to connect to our future by connecting deeper to the moment. It allows us to be able to explore life from a much more broad perspective, right? Beyond the veil of our initial perception. So it allows us to tap into our psychic centers, for example. So the psychic centers inside of the body, the senses, the clair senses that are also connected to these physical senses are clairsentient, clear feeling, which very much resides in the gut, and the specific chakras that are associated with the gut. And we've got our clairaudience sense, which is our clear hearing, our ability to hear things clearly, not from these 2 ears in the physical sense, but the metaphysical ears. Okay, so we enable ourselves to be able to hear what's going on in the subtle realms of existence. Okay, and this is very much related to the heart and the throat chakra. Then we've got the clairvoyance ability as well, which is very much related to our third eye and crown chakra. And this is our ability to see things clearly, to be able to know, intuitively just see and know and form a path of clarity instead of being clouded by all of these preconceptions of life, these limited experiences of life that just happen through our 5 main senses. It allows us to look at some of our metaphysical and spiritual senses as well. So let's get into the 7 main chakras and our energy system. A quick overview of how the energy system works in the body. So right at the base of the body, we have this light force. It's called Kundalini. You've probably heard of it, right? Kundalini is not necessarily this big mystical thing that is often portrayed as being this very, very mystical, very hard to understand, energetic experience. But I want to break it down into something that's a little bit more understandable and something that you can go, okay, I could sort of get that a little bit more, right? But side note, remember, yoga and practice and the practice of the energy body is 99% practice and 1% theory. So really it's all about your own experience and your own truth of the chakra system. So Kundalini, it's a light force. It's a light force energy that resides at the base of the body. Everybody has this, okay? It's our truest, creative, greatest potential. When we work with the chakra system, when we align, cliche quote, the chakra system, the energy centers inside of the body, what we do is we allow ourselves to raise that light up through all of the chakras and circulate and balance our energy. Okay, so the Kundalini, once the chakras start to align, once we start to work with them, once we start to explore them and understand them, our light force energy rises up okay? And this light force then starts to rise. It raises our awareness. It raises our consciousness. And then it starts to rise and lower back down again, rise and lower back down again. So basically we start to circulate our energy much more freely when we start to work with our energy centers, okay? Now, Kundalini is essentially this energy, this beautiful, magnificent, personal energy inside of us that allows us to tap into our truest path, our truest, most authentic path on this planet. Okay, and this is where the chakra system comes to play. When the chakras, I don't want you to think about them as these spinning little wheels and, you know, in this very cliche term, I want you to think about them as energy centers that expand and move around the body, okay? They're just the areas where there's more concentrated energy than the rest of the body, okay? Because there's always energy moving through the body, just like there's blood and breath moving through the body, etc. as well, right? When these main energy centers become a little bit stuck or a little bit misaligned, then that light, that Kundalini, can't get through. And therefore, we cannot live our life to our truest potential because we're always going to be feeling stuck or blocked in some way around these different centers, okay? So that's essentially what we're doing here when we're working with the energy centers. We are aligning our light. That's what enlightenment means, to align our light, align our chakras, our energy system, allow it to balance so our light force, our Kundalini can rise up, awaken us, raise our awareness so we can come back to a deeper sense of self-realization, a deeper sense of self, a deeper sense of presence, a deeper sense of being able to be the observer of situations, of our thoughts, of our life, so that we can come at it with a little bit less attachment and more of a watchman's perspective. Okay, so let's get into the 7 main chakras. Number 1, the first chakra is called the Root Chakra or Muladhara Chakra. It's right at the base of the body. Now, we symbolize these different chakras with yantras, which are basically symbols and different colors. So the Root Chakra would essentially be a red color, and it's associated with earth, right? I don't want to get into that as much as I want to get into really what the chakras actually do inside the body. Okay, these are all very, very nice terms to be able to describe the chakras and make it easier for us to understand that red is earth and it's at the base of the spine, the root chakra, and it's about grounding and stability and security and foundations. But really what the root chakra is all about is about finding our Vastu. Now, Vastu is a Sanskrit word, and it basically means our place in space. Okay, so to find our Vastu is to find our place in space, to find our centeredness amongst the chaos, amongst the madness of the universe. And when we find that centeredness, which very much comes at that root chakra, at that base, at the bottom of the body, at the tailbone, we find that centeredness, we allow ourselves to come at life with a very strong, stable foundation. Okay, without that stable foundation, without us being able to feel secure in the world, we cannot explore the world with freedom, awe, and such excitement with the fact that we've been born into this absolute miracle, right? So if you don't believe in chakras, question that, because look at this mental phenomena that we've been born into, right? Isn't that a miracle? Isn't that something that you would never have expected that could even be possible before it was possible, right? So that is what the first chakra is all about. It's all about Vastu. It's all about finding our place in space and finding our center. This is usually the place that we need to start to connect to first and foremost. And it can get affected by life, right? As I explained earlier, the chakra system, or the chakras, they absorb the energy of life. So inside that root chakra, we can absorb the energy of life in certain ways, because each chakra has a different vibratory frequency. Okay, they're not better, they're not worse than one another, they're just different vibratory frequencies. So whichever frequency of life is to do with this vastu, our sense of security, our sense of stability, our foundational point, anything that threatens our survival, anything that threatens our feeling, our ability that we can trust ourselves to be able to make our mark and move forward in life with the resources that we need. Yeah, anything that threatens those survival principles also starts to threaten that energetic center, right? So that center, the root chakra, absorbs and releases all of these different notions of that frequency. So if you've struggled in childhood, for example, or many times throughout life, or even in past lives, if that's something that you are into, and even in your ancestry or generational notions, these can all carry through into the root chakra. And anything that's affected your security, your ability to trust or not trust that you can survive as a human being on this planet and get from A to B the best you can, anything that's threatened that is going to start to reside in that root chakra, in that vastu. It's going to throw us off kilter and threaten our center. Okay, so that's the first chakra in a nutshell. The second chakra is the sacral chakra. Okay, now the sacral chakra is very much related, it's the second chakra up. It's related to our reproductive organs and the kidneys. Okay, it's very much about the water element, is the sacral chakra. Now, we do often hear about this chakra being described as the chakra of creativity, or the chakra of joy, or the chakra of sexuality and sensuality. But really, what I want to bring it back into is this chakra is really all about who we are, how we present ourselves on this earth as this little human in this little meat suit, okay? Now, let's go back to the root chakra. Think about the root chakras, where we are, vastu, our place in space. Sacral chakra is who we are in that place in space, okay? Now, it's not about how we present ourselves on a superficial level, but those superficialities can really, really start to stir up that chakra and make it feel stuck, right? We live in a world where we've been told what we should look like, how we should be, who we should be, how we should present ourselves, and it all gets a little bit boring and a little bit samey, doesn't it? And we're basically told how we should live, who we should be, what we should wear, what system we're meant to go through to live our life, and all of these different things, right? And that really affects the sacral chakra. So it's not just to do with creativity and personality and joy and sensuality. Really, it's about who we really are at our core, who we are before the world told us who we should be, right? As cheesy as that sounds. That's what the sacral chakra is all about. It's about uncovering, releasing, and letting go of many of these layers and layers and layers and layers of should-bes and all the glitter of who we've been told to be by the ideals of society and the beauty industry and all of that rubbish. It's about unraveling that, releasing that, and actually finding out who we really are at the core of our being. What are our values? What are our truest values? What do we really believe in? What do we want to project to the world? What's our mission? Yeah, that's what the sacral chakra is all about. So the first chakra is about our whereabouts in this space. that we're in. Our second chakra is about who we are and finding out who that really is, yeah, in its most natural, authentic space. The third chakra, when we go up to the third chakra, this is the solar plexus, or otherwise known as Manipura chakra. Now, this area is in between the belly button and the diaphragm, okay? It's the sort of upper abdomen, and it's often related to the navel. We often think about this area as our center of confidence, our center of willpower. But really, I want to put a little spin on this, because I think it's the heart space that really brings that willpower into existence, into manifestation. And like I say, when you get to explore and understand and experience the chakras for yourself through these energy practices, yoga, meditation, breath work, all these different things, you'll get to realize that, you might have your own view on what these energy centers mean to you, right? Because you can feel that, and that's your truth as well. So taking everything just as a little pinch of salt, because really life is about your own experience and your own truth. Now, let's go back to the solar plexus chakra. This area is all about it's all about nurturing and connection, connectivity. And the reason being is because this space is an absolute powerhouse of energy. It's a powerhouse of energy. That's why in traditions like Kundalini yoga and other yogic practices that we work with to really tune up these energy centers, that's why we do all of this navel work like breath of fire and holding the horrible stretch pose and boat pose and all of this sort of core work, because we're really starting to get that energy moving and circulating in that powerhouse of the solar plexus. Now, the reason this is to do with nurture and connectivity is because the solar plexus is the first point, the first place that we received energy from our mother in the womb. Okay? The umbilical cord. It's the first place we received that energy. Okay? So anything that sort of threatens that space, that feeling of nurture and connection to life, can really start to play a little bit of havoc in the solar plexus. The solar plexus is related to our digestive system. All of the different chakras relate to different organs and different areas of the body. That is for a different video, but solar plexus very much to do with the digestive system. Okay, and so obviously when we're talking about nurturing connection, first point of call is where we receive the energy from the mother in the womb. The second point of call, when we actually release that umbilical cord and the physical attachment goes, we also receive a lot of energy from the cosmos into the solar plexus, right? That's why it's often known as the most blocked chakra. Now, I don't like talking about blocked chakras in that sense, because you are not a blocked person. I am not a blocked person. We are not blocked people. It's normal, it's human to have feelings of stuckness in and around the body, especially related to these different main energy vortexes. Okay, so solar plexus, once we've snip the cord with the mother in a physical term, then we'll receive this massive amount of energy from the cosmos. Okay, and what else is going on here in the solar plexus is it's very much to do with our food. It's very much to do with our relationship to our food, which is our first point of energy, right? We eat, we digest the food, or we don't digest the food, or somewhere in between, and then once we've digested that food, we use the food as energy, right? So that's why this sentence got a lot to do with willpower and motivation and going forward, or what we often relate to this area as being, because it gives us that vavavoom once we've digested our energy, once we've digested our food, and we've started to use it as energy for our day. Then we can start to move forward with our tasks, etc., etc. If this area is stuck because we're not digesting our food properly and we're receiving so much energetic experience and frequency from the cosmos, but we're not digesting it. And we've also still got some psycho-emotional exploration to do around the feeling of self-esteem, really, around the feeling of emotions, right? To do with the mother, to do with our food, our diet, to do with the digestive process. All of these things are to do with connection and nurturing, mother, food, relationship between cosmos and individual self. Yeah. And to add another string to the bow, is that the word? I don't know. To add another string to the bow, I'm going to say it. This center of the solar plexus is the center of our emotional body, right? So that's why we can't just think, wow, I'm going to eat all this healthful food. I know exactly how to eat. And why is my digestive system still not working for me? Why do I still feel sluggish? Why don't I have X, Y, and Z? Why am I still feeling very heavy? Why can't I move myself forward? Because essentially, we're not just eating our healthy food, we're also eating our emotions. If we're eating shame and guilt and fear, we're not eating a healthy diet. So it's really important to consider how we eat. Are we being kind to ourselves when we're eating at the same time as just eating foods that serve the human body? Right? So there's a lot going on in this area. Emotional body, connection to mother, energy from the cosmos, energy from our food, right? You can see there's a lot going on in this area. Also very related to our clairsentient abilities, our ability to feel our way through life, that sixth sense of clairsentient. Okay, so let's move on from the solar plexus. These are all just very broad explanations of the chakras. In the other videos that I'm going to do, I'm going to also break them down deeper and give you tools and practices to do around the different centers. So do stay tuned for them. And remember to keep going to the end, because I'm going to explain to you the 8th chakra, which is so important for helping balancing all of these other 7 main chakras in the body. Okay, let's move to the heart space. So when we've come to the Vastu, so placing space at the root chakra, we've found where we are, found our center. Then we come up to who we are. We find our true values and our authentic nature hidden underneath the glitter of who we're told we should be. Then we move up to the solar plexus. We start to nurture our truth, our authenticity, yeah, by giving it nice food, by eating with kindness, by becoming aware of our emotional state. Once we've fed our body with all of these nourishing things, right, we then come up to the heart space. Now the heart space, wow, this is a huge energetic portal, because the heart space, I don't know whether you know this, but it radiates more magnetism than the brain. It's a huge electromagnetic field. Now, the heart space is all about the give and the receive of energy. Give and receive of love, unconditional love energy, right? But do you know what else it's to do with? It's to do with courage and willpower. And let me tell you why. And this is where the solar plexus and the heart really work together. So, courage and willpower. If we think about the heart space, it's very much to do with courage, because the heart space is about showing up with courage and serving humanity from who we really are, from the knowing of our true authentic state, right? From our truth. So if the journey was this, center yourself, know yourself, nourish yourself, going up into the heart space, find courage to serve that truth. Yeah, because the heart space is all about service. And whatever you give out, you get back. And the more you give out without wanting to get back, the more that you get back and the more that you give out. It's a continuum. It's about understanding life in its circular aspect, in its infinite aspect, instead of it being this, how can I get? How can I receive? How can I keep? How can I protect? It's about serving from your truth. That's why we work up in this area from the base of the body, from the base chakra all the way up to the heart. Okay, so when we've come to the heart space, when we then start to get to the throat space, when we've found our courage, we've found who we are, we want to serve, we come to the throat space, Vishuddha chakra, center of the throat, which is often associated with the blue, the color blue. This area is very much to do with how we project that truth, our ability to project, show up, say, not hide our voice anymore, like we've been told to throughout our life, but project our truth. Allow ourselves to express ourselves, because we're allowed to, right? We've been born for this. And then that allows us to be able to know what our skills are, know what our talents are, know what our gifts are, and give them. And then we'll be able to receive them back. So the throat chakra is also about the courage that we get from the heart space, then comes up to project that courage. And not just project that courage, because the throat chakra isn't just about speaking up. It's about listening as well. It's this finely tuned balance between speaking your truth and hearing the truth. Speaking the truth and hearing the truth. Okay, speaking to others and hearing others. And it's a sharing of our ecosystem of truth and authenticity. Okay, so moving up. So that throat area can really, the frequency of the throat area, when we have not been able to express who we really are, because we've still got some work to do maybe in these lower energy centers of finding out who we are beyond the glitter of what we've been told to be, not quite finding our center, not feeling that we have the courage to be able to, recognize that truth and our gifts and what we're here for, then the throat's going to become very, very blocked and stuck. We're not going to be able to express that. If we've struggled to express our emotions in the past, if we've struggled to express who we really are in the past, if we've struggled to show who we are, if we've had to hide our real self to fit in somewhere, maybe in an educational system, in a societal system, right, in schooling, even through parenting, even through generations and generations of this energy, we're going to struggle to open that area and speak our truth with the courage that comes from the heart space. So these spaces are very, very connected as well. So once we start to move up through the throat chakra, we also start to then come to the third eye space. So the third eye space is, you all know this space, right? Ajna chakra. It's not as woo-woo as we always make out to be. The location of it is in between the eyebrows, slightly up and back into the skull. So when we're working with things like yoga or Kundalini yoga, what we tend to be doing is we tend to be working with focusing our drishti, our eye gaze at this point, and it just allows us to come to our knowing. Okay, it's very much about our knowing, this space. So third eye, Ajna chakra, is about our ability to see beyond the veil of perception. It's the very, very common psychic space, but the heart is also a very strong psychic space, and the gut is another very strong psychic space. But the third eye is where we've come to this point where we just see beyond the veil of perception. So we've worked with these energy centers, these psycho-emotional spaces, and we've come to the third eye, and it's about clarity. It's about seeing clearly. So when this space is a little bit kerfuffled, fluffy, if you like. It's often that we find that we cannot see clearly. We're always having to rely on somebody else to direct us, right? We can't envisage our path. We feel very clouded, very blocked, confused, often flat. It can lead us into feeling a little bit depressed and low as well. So being able to trust that the world and the universe and the cosmos and our inner and outer experiences are all working for us and are all in perfect alignment anyway, then that is really going to help us to surrender the energy at the third eye space. It's all about trust. It's all about clarity. It's all about using our inner wisdom, the wisdom of all of these different psycho-emotional centers, to see clearly, go forward. And then we move to the crown. Hold on, because in a moment we're going to finish the video, but I'm going to finish the video with the 8th chakra, so stay tuned. It's coming after this. The crown is the 7th chakra, just above the crown of the head here, which is all about we. Okay, so let's think about the lower chakras. They're about I. They're about I. How I can make my way in this world. Individual self. When we come to the crown chakra, it's all about we. Yeah, expansiveness, oneness, the merge between the individual self and cosmic consciousness. The individual self and the divine self. The individual self and collective consciousness. Okay, so it's not about I, it's about we. It's not about what I can get, it's about how we can. What's best for humanity? What's best for the planet? What's best for the cosmos, the world at whole? What's best for everybody? That's what that space is all about. Okay? A child, when the child is born, they are born with all we. The whole of the crown chakra is open, and they have no I. They don't see any difference between you and me and you and them and the rest of the world, okay? They learn to come back into the lower chakras to be able to get by on the planet, because if we didn't have that sort of egoic nature, if we did not have that I-ness, our soul would not be glued to the body, okay? The ego and the individual self is important because it glues the soul to the body, right? So everything is all just as important here. There's no hierarchy in the chakra system. It's all about balancing our energy. So let's get back